Hello again, everyone. I'm bringing you another conversation with another friend of mine. This time I'll be talking with Manuel. Manuel is a full time artist that I met when I arrived to Greece about 4 years ago, and since then we've become very good friends. When I met him, I was going through a very difficult period of my life. I didn't know when to turn to, where to turn to, what to turn to, and it was during that moment that he told me a sentence that stayed with me, which was, "You are light." In this conversation, I wanted to explore that sentence or what that meant to him, why he said it, and how he came to understand something like that about me, and possibly how he can see that within people. Thank you, and please like and subscribe.
How you doing,
Okay.
my man? We're already recording, just so you know. Listen, I want this to be more of a conversation than anything. Like I told you, I'm working on this writing project, this script project that I have been doing for a few months now. And I need to map out better some of the characters that I want to introduce into the story. For me, need to feel like the people that have been in my life along the way. Not
Mm-hmm.
only that, but there's also a component that each of these people that I've been interviewing lately, but there's always like a thread of connection there, which is in many ways a statement. And from your side, it's a statement that I think that I've already told you many times before when we were completely drunk on our asses and we had just met. It was the football game that we met for the first time when we went out with God, I forgot his name. What was his
Mm-hmm.
name?
What do you mean, Brian?
Yeah, Brian. Fuck. How the hell did, how the hell did I forget his name? Yeah, when Brian introduced
Yeah.
us. So when we were introduced to each other that very very first time, I remember that that was the day that we picked it off from the very get go. We were stunned drunk, and in the middle of our drunkenness, you said something about "you are light," and for some reason, ever since
Mm-hmm.
I know you, that statement has stuck with me for many reasons. The first one was that I didn't really believe what you were saying, but for some reason there was something into it. But then as we
Because uh, because you are not used to that or what?
yeah, I think it was mostly that. It was mostly that. I was not used to that. I don't think I've ever heard it. I honestly couldn't see how that could be a thing. How can I be light or someone be light?
But I mean, maybe I said it like I saw trouble in your life, trouble, but you were like some kind of or you were struggling in that way. I don't know. I think I saw a struggle,
Yeah,
and that for me it's symbolic
yeah.
in a way that it's light, it's luminous in that way, when you're in a path or in a struggle or something, and you because sometimes we consume in our grief or our pain or something like that. So maybe I saw that, I didn't see specifically like a light, like a physical manifestation or something like that. Just saw like the struggle. It
No, that
was
that
like a silent struggle. It
that
was
now is clear to
it
me.
was
Yes.
palpable.
Yeah, that now after so much long, because we've been friends for what, like for years now. Like it's been what 2 3 years
Yeah,
since that day or something, and
yeah,
we've still
that
been in
was
touch.
2022 in the
Yeah.
World Cup.
Sorry to annoy you, but can you focus a little bit more of the camera on you? Because
But I don't have a tripod, so it's barely.
okay, don't worry, don't worry, don't
I don't
worry.
know. I don't know how to put it because I don't have a tripod here.
I mean, sure, whatever we could do. I was just trying to ask, like that would be perfect, something like that. Anyway, so thank you for explaining that part a bit more. For some reason, that sentence always stuck with me. It's part of also the thing that I'm writing about. And, what I'm writing about has to do the struggles of people, not just one in particular. So, with all that said and
Yeah.
done, let's start with this. First question that I have for you here. This is more on about you, the person that you are. What is your full name and what does it mean? Does it mean something to you, your own name?
My name is Manuel Alejandro Hernandez Ruiz, and apparently it was there is a composer that used to write songs for I don't know Julio Iglesias and that kind of people in the 70s, and the guy's name was Manuel Alejandro. Apparently, it comes from that. But
So
also, I
you're
have like uncles from both sides. That is their names are Manuel. They have Manuel in their name. And Alejandro, I think my parents liked it.
hmm.
And for me, when I was a kid, Manuel was a very serious name, so I used to prefer Alejandro, but nobody called me like that except one friend. And eventually, I got used to that seriousness. But I think Emmanuel means like love of God or something like that. God's present, something like that. Like in the language Arameo. I
Hmm.
don't know how to say in English.
Aramaic. Aramaic.
I think, but I'm not sure. I haven't researched that. And to be honest, it doesn't particularly have a specific sense for me. Just like it was the name that I was framed, you know.
Hmm.
So, but and it's quite long. So there is no like a thing behind the name, to be honest.
Mm.
Here, that those kind of names are very like I don't know Hernandez, Ruiz. That they are very common surnames also. So it's not
Yeah.
special in that way.
Okay. Where were you born and how has that place shaped you?
I was born in a city in the west of Colombia, near the Pacific Ocean, but
Hmm.
it's in the middle of two chain mountains.
Hmm.
The area is called Valle del Cauca,
Valle
and the
Cauca.
city is called Valle del Cauca, and the city is called Cali, but the full name is Santiago de Cali. It's a hot city. It's a warm, hot city in the middle of the valley. It's very famous for the salsa, for the party living kind of way. For the music, the food is very. It tends to be to the for like seafood, like
Hmm.
also a lot of meat. For me, it's messy. It's a messy city. When I went to with Claudine, she said that remind her of her childhood in Kinshasa, in Congo.
Hmm.
So I guess it has that kind of vibe. It's very is it that area in Colombia has the most African Afro-Colombian population in the whole country. So there is a lot of African influence in that city. You can tell everywhere that you see a lot of African kind of vibes. But I was born there, and like when I was 3 years old, my dad was transferred again to Bogota. So I grew up in Bogota. I'm more Bogotanian in that way, more mountain kind of
More
guy, like
mountain.
and more. If you see the Caleños, the people from Cali are more open. They're more like easy kind of people. Here, people are more restricted in Bogota, more like conservative in not in a political way, but in like the how they behave and all that. So they don't express everything. They pronounce every letter. They pronounce every word, and in the Cali they omit some certain letters. They like
Hmm.
that happens in the coastal areas when they it's like economy of language.
Hmm.
So, but here in Bogota, in the center of the country and the mountains, is more you say every word, and every letter of that word.
Hmm.
I would
Properly.
say for for Colombia, it's very neutral Spanish here in Bogota. So I have that. My Spanish is like that, and I grew up here. I consider myself. I was born in Cali, but I was raised here in Bogota. So I think I'm more a Bogotaниan in that way. It's the thing of Cali because my grandma lives there and I have aunts there. We used to go a lot with my mom when I was a kid. So I think
Mhm.
I have good memories, like holiday kind of memories. I never studied in high school there or something. No, I don't know how it's to live there properly. So my memories are very holiday and very. They're happy. There are happy memories there.
That's good. It's good that you have that kind of memory from that point. And there is
Yeah.
I can see that there is I don't know, not so much of a sense of a duality, but you feel like you were kind of in between places. Definitely seem like you like Bogota because that's where you grew up. That's where most of your life took place.
For example, I like the weather in Bogota. I like it more. It's more kind. It's more pleasant for me. Cali is always hot, or most of the time in the year, and it's very humid. So I guess living in Athens had made me appreciate more the heat, but it's at a certain point it's kind of tiring, you know.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not as hot
Athens.
as Athens in summer. It's not as hot.
Yeah, no,
I
Athens
think
is
Athens is,
Athens can
yeah,
be like
it's hell.
a microwave. It's a microwave sometimes.
But it's kind of hot the whole year, so you can you I guess people is easy in that way, like they are more chill at night. You see the people goes out a lot. There are a lot of food places, like kind of street food thing in the street. It's very lively. I like it. But as I say before, for me, it's more like a holiday kind of feeling.
Hmm.
Bogota is more like the everyday kind of stuff. You have to do errands, like that kind
Hmm.
of stuff. And high school, I studied here in Bogota, so I have my memories very linked with this city, with the capital.
What is the earliest memory that you have?
Probably, I think my mom, I think, was taking me to the kindergarten or something like that. I don't have. It's not very precise, but I have a memory of a big house like in a forest or something like that, and that there was like a kindergarten or something like that. And
Hmm.
apparently that kindergarten was a scam because they
It's a scam.
later, yeah, later they told me that they took the money and they scammed like families. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
kindergarten was, yeah, apparently was like that. So that
That's okay.
I remember that house, but I never was in that kindergarten. I never studied there, but I
Okay,
remember
okay.
the house. But I also have memories like climbing on trees and all that. A lot. I used to climb a lot of trees and all.
Seems like you had a lot of contact with nature during those times.
Yeah, here where I grew up, it's like up north of the city, like almost in the border, going outside the city. So it was before it was full of nature around here. Now it's full of buildings and stores, shops. It's very now very busy and a lot of traffic. So I
Hmm.
think my first memory. I mean, I don't know if it's the first memory that I have, but it's a very early memory
Yeah,
of a big house, like a big kind of mansion. Maybe I'm exaggerating because memory is a tricky thing, but for
yeah.
me it was like a big mansion in the forest.
Okay.
It has that kind of vibe of melancholia of a nice place, but also like a eerie place. I don't know why.
What do you fear the most and why?
Fear the most. I don't know. Maybe economical instability. I think the uncertainty of the path that I chose. That I think that's my biggest fear. The ups and downs of the career that I chose, economically wise.
But this is very
Yeah,
connected. to the path that you chose? Is it something about being afraid that the path that you chose will translate into this very thing that you fear the most, which is economical instability, or not being able to be stable economically because you chose this
Yeah,
path?
yeah, because I think my whole life or my professional life has been like that all the time, you know. But I had a good teaching from my dad. He always taught me about saving. So I always have saved since I'm in high school, but that doesn't take out the fear of being someday like
That they may come,
totally broke or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
like a day comes, something happens, and suddenly everything that you've been working
Yeah.
for needs to vanishes or almost completely vanishes in order to try to stabilize things.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially these days that everything is more uncertain and it's impossible to have, well, for me, to have property or something like that is very like, it's a remote idea, you know? So I don't have,
Mhm.
to be honest, I don't have liquidity that much. I don't have property. I don't own like an apartment or something like that. The only thing that I have is artworks and artworks.
Let me see if I understand correctly. Professionally wise, you work with art, right? Because we haven't mentioned that yet.
Yeah.
You are an artist for all purposes. As I understood, is that this fear of economical instability is also potentialized because of the fact that you don't have any passive income assets, like anything that could generate wealth by itself without you having to directly having to deal with it, such as having like an apartment that you could rent out to people or other things that could
Yeah.
just by themselves generate wealth. But you still decided
Mhm.
to pursue this art as a profession. To do art for you is a profession. This is what you wanted to do, right?
Yeah, since I was a kid. No, that's not true. And but since I was probably 15, something like that, because I think that that's the only thing that I was good at, and also music. I used to play a lot of like music. I had bands and all that, but the professional career being a musician, I didn't like the academy of music and all that. It was that or and my brother once said, why don't you study art in like I was in 11th grade or something like that, and I just went to one university and I passed and that's it. I didn't even have time to choose or think about that much, you know. It was like, okay, I'm going to do art because I don't know what else. So it was not a proper conscious decision, but more like, okay, like I was flowing, you know, like let's do this, but not really knowing what was that about, you know.
If you don't mind me asking this, you studied, you continued doing art, but somehow throughout your time together, because how old are you right now?
39.
39. And ever since you were young, you always pursued this as a profession, art. Was there at any point in time that you felt like you should quit on it and just do something else? Or why is it that
I
this
have,
has stuck with you until now? And it feels like you will always do this. This is not out of the question for you. I mean, the way that I see you, you will always do art because this is your thing. But what is it that keeps you going, knowing that you will continue to deal with this fear, this thing that you fear the most? What makes you continue?
I don't know what keeps me going, but it's like an impulse or a energy from somewhere that I don't really know that motivates me, and sometimes I got these glimpses of something that I don't know properly, like some kind of I think I'm a tool or something that I don't fully understand, and
Mhm.
that tool it's a language that is made of images, symbols, narratives, storytelling, that kind of things, you know. So I the only thing that I do is stuff that I have in my context, in my life, in my world, in the places that I've been living, in the books that I read, in the movies, in games, friends, family. I articulate that and I make something with that. I made it can be a story, it can be a painting, a sculpture, an installation, a narrative, an idea. that's what I do. I feel like I'm more like a tool of something.
Do you feel like there will ever come a day that you will quit being a tool? Or has there ever been a moment that you felt like going against this feeling is something that you will never
Mm,
do?
to be honest, I think about that a lot. Like, what if I quit and start doing something else? But I don't have. I don't know. I don't feel like especially inclinated to that. Like to make a new path in at this point in my life. It's I don't know. I feel it's too late sometimes. Like let's keep doing until there is no more anything else to do. You know. Of course, I for example, we talk about this one day. Like I feel like, for example, a movie would be a great way of making art, but with a lot of other elements that I will enjoy also, like music, like doing, like writing, like costumes, like all that kind of
Mhm.
art. All those arts can create a very large work of art, but it's very difficult to make a movie. So you have to be very patient. You have to raise some like a lot of money. Like you have it's a whole enterprise. Just for example, so making a drawing for me, it's a way of coping with that kind of urge of telling stuff. Of or launching ideas to the world, just putting feelings in a piece of paper. And that's like the most basic interaction with the world that I have. So for me, it's also a matter of survival and
Mhm.
to coping in this world, if I didn't do that, I don't know how else I will say stuff or express feelings or fears or whatever.
Is there anything out there that you want more than anything, even if you don't really want to admit it to yourself? Is there anything that you've ever thought for yourself that I really wished I could have this, or I really wished I could do this, but you have never given it a voice? You never had said it to yourself, never admitted to yourself that you wanted it.
Mm, I think I would like to have like I don't know how to say it in English. Fullness in my life,
Okay.
like and like tranquility. I think
Yeah.
that's my
Peace, tranquility,
the most, yeah.
or
I
serenity. Do you
think
mean do you mean like serenity, like have a serene?
yeah, with everything, without anxiety, without fears. Fear is important, but sometimes it takes over and it can be very unpleasant. So I think that it's like that kind of feeling, like tranquility. I mean, I'm not ashamed of saying it. I mean, it's like I don't know. I don't want money. I don't want to stuff like gadgets or whatever. No, I like, even today, I feel like I'm abandoning a lot of stuff. I want to live with less, more and more, and be easy with the existence.
To have as less of an impact as possible, you mean?
Yeah. For me, idealistic way of living would be like an implosion. Like, so one day I implode, not explode, but I implode and just be. I don't know how to explain it. I know
Just
it's,
be.
it's difficult because
Just stop trying to be something, but just be that
yeah,
something.
yeah, you stop trying and just be. But you have to be like, I don't know. I will have to live like probably 100 more years to reach that point. It's like this. Remember this artist that made the Hokusai, the wave, the Japanese wave, famous wave that is like a silk screen or something like that. It's like an engraving of this Japanese artist from 1800s, Hokusai. And he used to say he died like he had like 98 years old or something when he died. And like couple years before he was dead, he said, I'm just learning now that I will never finish the learning, the experience of being a master. That's like I'm just learning right now." And he was like 96 years old, something like that. for example, Chinese painters from like the, I don't know, 15th, 14th century, 13th century. They used to change names like every 10, 20 years, all the time. They used to change names because they wanted to start all over. The recognition that they used to gather, they used to throw it away because that was not important. Important was to experience like a new, like to be a newborn, like to experience over again a different kind
That's actually interesting.
of
I
existence.
never heard of it. I didn't know of that. I didn't know.
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
it was a common practice among the Chinese painters in those
Was that
centuries.
was that like something that they did like to avoid recognition and just be able to have a stale life in which they could always like transform,
I think
metamorph,
that
and always reset themselves up without having to.
I think it also had to be to do with a lot of Taoism and a very spiritual way of seeing prosperity and success and all that. It was like abandoning that kind of stuff so you can focus on new things. No matter what or who are you, you can always start again.
Mm.
And that was like a very bold thing, like to just abandon everything and start over and change your name and all, like a new painter.
Was that something that you've
Like
already also considered for yourself, like
no,
to do a start again for
no,
yourself in some way?
yeah, I mean yes, but no, consciously. It's just like yeah, I mean for sure I have thought that, but it's not like a thing that I consider right now.
Is there anything that keeps you awake during the nights?
Depends of the time of the year or what's going on, but could be I think a project or ideas of artwork, or it could be I have to pay electricity tomorrow or something like that.
So
It's very
mundane stuff
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
creates some.
I mean, if for example I'm sick or something, that will keep me awake or something, but
Mhm.
it depends of the situation.
Who do you trust the most in your life?
I would say Claudine,
Mhm.
my parents. Yeah,
Claudine being your wife and your parents because
yeah.
family, of course.
My parents, they have always been there, supporting and all.
Is there someone that you lost, and how did that loss affect you?
I've lost people, yeah. Like the first time that I dealt with death was when I was little, and my uncle died. He was like close to me, and that was like the first time I was like in a funeral. And then I also lost a friend in high school. He committed suicide. He was very talented musician, and you never understand why at the end. It was a very strange way of disappearing because it was like he had a lot of future in music. It was very difficult to deal with that at that point. I also, well, my grandma, that was like the pillar of the family. Right now, my other grandma is like in the same path.
Sorry to hear that.
So yeah, that affect me in a way that you see and you feel the presence of your mortality. That
Mhm.
everything dies and nothing is forever. And sometimes it goes or it changes. Life changes very quickly, suddenly.
Thank you for all this. It's been really insightful. So, what's your relationship with power, control, or authority?
I think I'm a kind of a control freak regarding my stuff or my materials that I use, the apartment, the ideas that I want to express, or the projects that like building. In that way, I'm kind of a control freak.
Or you mean that you are a bit too attached with the ideas and the projects that you generate in your mind?
Yeah, I want a certain way, and it's difficult that I bend sometimes in that way. When I was growing up, I was very rebel, so I hated authority and that kind of like repression or the cops or disciplinary like authority in high school. I had a lot of problems with that.
Like authoritarian and
Yeah,
power
authoritarian
related
figures,
systems from
like
society.
because for example, I used to have a lot of hair and a lot of sideburns.
Really?
They used to tell me all the time, code them. And I used to have like a piercing in high school, and they used to say like take them off, like that kind of stuff. Put your shirt in, like polish your shoes, that kind of stuff. I always struggle with that.
Was it more like you didn't want to be told what to do, or was it just you felt uncomfortable that you were having someone having you under their thumb, or you felt like you were being
It
pressed
was
about?
both. Both. I used to find like stupid the idea of the uniforms. I hate uniforms. So I used to find that stupid idea that why it doesn't matter. It doesn't makes you a different person. Or actually, I prefer diversity and people that are quite different, and the diversity of in a place. You know.
Mhm.
But in those days, that was the way in like in private schools.
Yeah, I
Everyone
get it.
in the uniform, and everyone the same, and you think all the same, and the way that they teach you is like a homogeneous way of teachings. The same
Mhm.
path to everyone, and it was very frustrating.
Everything was scripted
Yeah,
for everyone.
because I used to, for example, in math class, I used to just draw my notebook. I was not that interested, so it was difficult to adapt in that system. If I was me in those days, I would like to find another kind of system, like a more artistic approach. If I really understood the price that was like to be raised in a system that was that kind of like militaristic, but not
Mhm.
not that militaristic, just like a proper. It was like for me, it was like the English system that everyone is in the uniforms, and you must learn what they told you, and you can't really have other interest. Like it was difficult in that way. So
Mhm.
to adapt and to be part of that was very challenging. So I used to make a lot of problems. A little troublemaker I was.
What is the cost of living a life fully as an artist? And the people around you, are they able to understand it?
I don't know if they are able, but it's a lot of sacrifice in a way that you can. For example, you can have a trip because you don't have the money, or can't buy something for someone sometimes because it's too expensive. Or when you have the money, maybe I prefer to save it because you never know. So, or but I like the freedom of having my own time, of having, if I want to go for a walk, I can. And I am very observer, so I like to observe situations, places, to take my time to reflect. I like that, and maybe a lot of people don't understand that you can live like that. Like not in the corporate world sometimes, or not like being part of a specific way of living, but you make your own ways. For me, that's freedom. It's a lot of freedom, but the freedom comes with a lot of sacrifices. Sometimes you meet a lot of difficult people in this kind of world. Very narcissistic people, very egotistic people, very, I don't know. It's good and bad stuff. Freedom good, but a lot of idiots that only think about themselves.
So for you, it's not so much about the full cost of being an artist, because that's going to be very hard. You already acknowledge that. You already accepted that. And but still, the price to pay for that definitely outweighs the difficulties. The when I mean the price has to pay for it, meaning that the freedom that you get definitely outweighs all the costs that this life can and all the hardships that this life brings you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say that. I mean, I think everything would be super depressing if I didn't do what I do, and I only had that like to work from 8 to 5, and you know, I
Hmm.
had to have like that kind of escape to be able to do other kind of stuff, like even to make a little drawing. Right now I'm drawing. Like right now I
Yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah. I
stop
know, I
drawing.
know, I know. I know because I already
So
know you. I know how you how what you are
yeah,
doing because you're definitely focused. I know that you're definitely focused on what we are doing together here, but I also know that it's a let out for you, a let out of you just I don't know what you're scribbling, but it's sort of an automatic
also
path
sometimes
for you.
automatic drawings and stuff like it's nothing in particular. Just
Yeah,
it helps me to focus also. For example,
yeah. I get it. I get it. You said that there's a price to pay for this freedom. So in that case, I wanted to ask you, what is freedom to you? What is the whole meaning of freedom to you? Is freedom just having the time to do things at their own pace? Or is freedom something much larger, something much more than that? Is it more than just being able to say what you want, be what you want, do what you want? What is freedom to you?
well, what is the most important thing in life? What is the most valuable thing that you have that no even money can buy? It's time. Time is the most precious thing in this life. The time to do whatever you want to do, or I don't know, the time. It's time. So I think in that way I have time, a lot of time, and that keeps me or makes me be able to see things in a different way because if you are stuck in an office it's very difficult that you don't have time for yourself, and that's very difficult, that's very difficult, and that's why they pay you a high salary or something because it's they're using your time.
It's an exchange of services.
Yeah,
I provide you with my
yeah,
time, and you provide me with money as a compensation for the
yeah.
time that I'm providing.
That's why also an artwork sometimes is very expensive because it's not only the time that you are creating that because sometimes a painting I can make a painting in 1 day or something in 1 hour, but it's the time that took me to realize that idea or to go there.
Mhm.
Sometimes it takes 1 year to just build an image that I did it in a single afternoon, But it was 1 year of a process of getting there. So
Okay.
it's I think freedom for me is time.
What is it that keeps you creating art, even in the times that the world doesn't really understand? And by the world, I mean anyone that can see it, may interact with it. What is it that keeps you creating that your art, even when you feel that the world doesn't really understand it?
As I say before, like it's the only way that I know that I can cope with the reality. So I haven't explored other other ways of expressing myself. Even I mean, it's not only art creation like of a painting or visual art, but also writing, also poetry, also recording a video, taking photos. That all it's part of a system of expressing ideas
Mhm.
and problematics and topics. So it's all part of that system. And for me, it's the way I know to so the way I connect with the world and the world connects with me.
Do you create art often for yourself and the others that are closest to you than related to the stories that you went through and things that you went through in your life? Or are you just creating it for something higher? There's an higher purpose to the things that you create.
If there is a higher purpose, I mean, there is always a higher purpose, but also a daily purpose that is the coping mechanism.
So it's mostly yourself revealing yourself into the world. And by that, you're bringing out something beyond what you can understand. Is that it?
Yeah, but I mean, it works in several levels. And in a high level of yeah, connecting, transcending, but in also in a very pragmatic level of, for example, doing a diagram or something.
What part of yourself do you think that you're more often revealing through your work?
What do you mean?
I mean, when you are doing your art, there's something that comes from you, either emotion, a feeling, a thought, something comes out of it. What is it that you think that you more often reveal through your art? What is it that you're trying to reveal?
I think my inner world, my thoughts and the train of thoughts and the context. Even, for example, if I make a map or something, it
Mhm.
has to do with that.
Is there anything that you think that you hide, or is everything layered out? Are you, when you do your
I
art, are you
think
laying out everything that you are, or is there a part of you that you
not
still?
everything, not everything at once, but I try to be the most honest about that. So you will find a lot of information in the stuff that I do that I will not normally say,
Mm,
like with words or in a conversation. But
yeah.
there, I don't have problems to be completely honest, and I tend to ridicule myself,
Hmm.
ridiculous,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because like,
Ridicule.
it's a way also to laugh about yourself, and to deal with I don't know, rejection or uh, a fight, or I don't know, just with stuff. Sometimes you have to laugh about yourself, and I do that a lot in what I do. So I tend to be a very honest storyteller in that way.
Has there ever been a moment in your life that you felt like you were betraying your vision for comfort or for approval of someone?
Maybe, yeah, maybe at the beginning I used to do that, like to gain a reward or something, a monetary reward, or to like make someone to appreciate me more or something like that. But
Hmm.
that was a long time ago. Now it's more and more like pocket. You deal with that,
Hmm.
and that's it, because that's me. So
Yeah, yeah.
that was at the beginning. I think when you start that you have to make a lot of compromises and all that.
In that sense of what we just said, it feels like, from what I understood, you are working with your art, and that may be understand by someone. The majority of the people may not understand it. So, how is it that you carry beauty in a world that maybe often refuses to see it? The beauty that you're bringing into the world.
By accepting that you can't change stuff. I think so. I think the way I carry beauty, if I carry, is the way is by accepting that you don't have control, and me as a control freak, it's a challenge. But I think that's the way of freeing myself, and as I say, try to just be.
Yeah, because that's an interesting thought over there. Because being a control freak or feeling like you want to control things as much as possible, it can be quite deterring to deal with this part that you can't control the outcome.
Yeah. So it's a way, I think, the way I wish that I could carry beauty is to just accepting that I don't have control of anything.
Thank you for that. When we first met, you said you are light, and we were very drunk. And you've already pretty much already replied to this question in the very beginning as to the reason. Was there anything else that you saw in me at that time when you said you are light? Was there more, or what is it that you actually saw in me during that?
As I told you before, I think it was more like the struggle of a humble human being. You were not cocky or whatever. You were just you. So I think in that way you were very honest. I mean, I don't know if you were honest, but I felt. So
Mhm.
it was more like that kind of shine that is very difficult to find in these days.
Thank you for that. You are one of the few people so far that actually had an insight on this project. I mean, you are, of all the people that I've interviewed, actually, you are the only one that actually already had some time to read something of the things that I wrote. Actually, you read it in the very early stage of everything, because now it's completely different. But
Hmm.
you managed to read a lot about it. And a lot of this story, I'm pretty sure you understood, is about good and evil, good and bad, light and shadow. How do you define your own lights and your own shadows?
I think that is. I mean, I think I have to think about that, but it's very. I might like the honesty in the artwork, but the dark side probably it could be a dishonest approach sometimes in relationships and all. So it's not like I lie or something, but it's something. Sometimes I don't feel connected or something,
Mhm.
and I act, or I try not to disturb or something like that. So sometimes I have to endure situations that I I'm not necessarily meant to do, to endure. So I think I still have a lot of lack of confidence with myself about myself. So in that way, that could play a dark part in my, like the lack of confidence.
Do you think that this part of you actually also plays a role in how maybe you are not seeing yourself fully in the right way? For example, like you said, you were able to see that I was like. Maybe could this darker side of you not allowing you to see your own light clearly?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, when you are surrounded by a cloud, it's difficult to see your own spectrum of colors.
Do you believe that people ever see themselves clearly as you did at that moment?
No, but themselves, no, I don't think so. I mean, it's difficult when you, and I speak for myself, but it's difficult to see fully yourself in that way. And maybe when you see it sometimes and you express it, it could be a narcissistic kind of
Hmm.
act. So
Hmm.
I think as humans, we deal with that confusion all the time with clouds.
Yeah,
Sometimes we see
like
glimpses,
clouds.
and sometimes we see glimpses like when you see the sun behind the sky in a cloudy day. But I think majority of time you don't see proper from the exterior, of yourself. From like the whole perspective, you don't see. It's difficult.
If you could give someone the gift of recognition to someone, what words would you use, or is there anything that you would say to them?
But what do you mean the gift of recognition?
Well, when you have to recognize something about someone, is there anything that you would be able to say it?
No, I think I will use the as much as I can the simpler. Look, less is more. Like the simpler, the better. I would say it's something very simple and direct because I don't like to embellish words, or I don't know. I'm not as good as a communicator verbally as I am an artist, like a communicator through in other
Hmm.
medias. So
Hmm.
verbally, I would say a very simple and direct thing.
Just like you did with me in that case.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to put it. But sometimes
Yeah.
it also is confusing because I have a train of thoughts very messy sometimes, but I try to, sometimes it's difficult to filter that through the mouth.
Hmm.
So I try to be as simple as I can.
Okay. Thank you for that. That's very rich, to be honest. So the last question is definitely not a question that I made. It's actually two questions that I have. So, as I told you, I'm doing a set of interviews to other people, but this is always about me communicating with each and every one in different spaces. So it's not like you guys get to interact with each other. So I thought it would be a good idea to somehow create a thread of connection between these interviews, between everyone that I'm interviewing. So what I asked the previous person that I interviewed was to create a question for the next person that I will interview. The first one is if you are happy, if you are.
And no, happy is not. I mean, it's difficult to be happy, and I don't trust people that are happy. To be honest, because you need both, or the whole gamma of feelings, not just happiness, but sadness, anger, fear. You need all. But as I said before, my goal is not to be happy, but to be in a serenity state
Mhm.
of mind. That's difficult. That's
Yeah, yeah.
also as accepting also your sadness, your the dark parts of you.
Mhm.
Accepting it and embrace them. So it's difficult. It's different than just happy.
Yeah, no, I understand exactly what you're trying to go for. The last question is if you have you learned to love yourself and if you have learned to forgive.
Not yet. Not yet. I think I'm in the process of that, but not yet.
You mean for loving yourself and to forgive?
Yeah, yeah, both.
Thank you for that. It's good to know that you feel like you are in the process of doing it. It's good to feel like that, actually.
Mhm.
What question would you like to have for the next person that I will interview?
I don't know. I have to think about that. I have to think about that. It's interesting, but I don't want to be too superficial. So if you give me couple hours, I will I will write a question.
All right, no problem. I'll keep that in mind and definitely I'll hit you back up with it.
Yeah,
All
because I
right.
don't want to just be a cliche question or
No, no, no.
no.
I mean, knowing you, I know that for sure you want to be going for something a bit more deeper. You don't want you are not a superficial person at all, and I think this conversation between us definitely showcased that. Manuel, thank you again for this, man. It was really nice to have
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you. Have a good
Yeah,
one.
don't
We'll
worry
talk
and
later.
let me know.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Let's
We'll
keep
talk
in
later.
touch.
Okay, no worry, brother.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Bye, man.
Big hug. Bye bye. See ya.
Bye.
Manuel has taken the time to send me his question, and I'm gonna read the message that he sent it to you, which was not covered in the conversation that we had. So here, listen to this. I was thinking that something that defines me at the beginning as a stranger to that concept, but eventually adopting it, is that Colombians have a particular way of expressing themselves. They use embellishments, courtesies, verbal softeners, linguistic kindnesses that function like joints in a building. They allow materials to expand or contract with changes in temperature or humidity without producing cracks or deformations. In case of social and cultural structure, they serve to lubricate and cushion social relationships. I've learned abroad to recognize this and to embrace it in my social role while being, for the most part, a reserved, shy, and a social person. As for the question I owe you, I would phrase it like this: what has your culture taught you about how to relate to the world? And what have you found in your culture that helps you connect with others? This was the question that Manuel left. If any of you are interested in checking Manuel's artwork, I'm going to leave links in the description of this video so you can check it out. Anything that could be relevant will be mentioned there, and you can also check it out, see if you like his artworks, and maybe even follow him too. Thank you very much for your time. After this video, there's going to be a little bit of a break, and this is a very new thing to me to be on YouTube. I'm not even taking this too seriously. Again, I'm just doing this because I really wanted to. But the next video that I will be doing will no longer be here in Greece. Currently, a shift in my life is taking place, and I'm going to have to relocate myself. So the next video, I don't think I will be making an interview in particular, but rather to talk a little bit more about what I expect this channel to be, where I want it to go, and hopefully what's going to be for it in the future. So um, be tuned for more. And for the little group of followers that I have, thank you very much for sticking with me for this 1 month that I've been doing this. It's been a very cringy and difficult process, but it's something that I'm actually enjoying in the middle of all of that. So thank you very much, and see you in the next one, guys. Thank you.